I think this is going to be Islam's toughest fight that we've seen recently. I think that stylistically, Ian Garry is a pretty bad matchup for him, to be honest. I think it's completely possible that Ian can win. And I'm not 100% confident in my prediction either. But I can't think that anybody in the welterweight division is going to beat Islam at the moment.
Ian Garry is a runner. He likes to use the void. He uses footwork. He goes lateral.
He's a monster. But then you look at Garry, you say, wait, there's an awkward cleverness about him. There's some about him. There's a confidence about him. But he's tall. He's long. He's a good striker, you know. And like I said, Makhachev is a pretty solid striker. He is.
Tom Aspinall has shared his thoughts about Islam Makhachev's ability to dominate anyone in front of him, even being considered one of the toughest foes in the UFC.
In my opinion, pound for pound number one, or in the argument at the minute for that. Once he gets hold of you, you're done. He's got that left head kick. People are saying, there's reports across the board, that he's the strongest person that people have ever fought. Apparently he's so physically strong, which is something that you can't see on TV.
What, just from a wrestling perspective?
Yeah, I think that's something that you can't really see. I mean, when you watch an opponent, right, you can always see the speed that they move, the techniques that they use, and the game plans and all that kind of stuff. What you can't see is how strong somebody is physically. Seen multiple guys say how strong he is physically. And once he gets older, guys, they don't seem to be able to escape.
Looking solely at his style, Tom offered a breakdown of how Islam typically manages to take down his opponents with a mix of techniques rather than relying on a single one to get the job done.
But then we've got Islam, who's a southpaw, who's coming forward, and he just kind of, I'm not going to say he's a plodder because that makes him sound like he's bad, but he's efficient with his footwork. He's not wasting any energy. He's just kind of like walking his opponent down and coming with the straight shots. Doesn't do a lot. A lot of his striking is to set up his grappling, but he's got that head kick from the back, from the left side that he does. And obviously his setups, his 1-2s are good. So this is a really interesting battle of styles for me in terms of footwork, foot placement. Obviously you've got the southpaw, you've got the orthodox, you've got the tall guy who moves a lot against the shorter guy who tries to smother the other guy. So very, very interesting in my opinion in terms of styles on the feet.
Still not overlooking Ian and the threat he poses, Tom highlighted the Irish fighter's build and his ability to move swiftly and elusively around the ring, which confuses his opponents.
Keep the strikes long. He has to be really aware of his awareness and his opponent's awareness in the octagon, which is, it's a really tough thing to do, especially against someone who walks forward a lot like Islam. I would like to see Ian Garry try and get him on the back foot a little bit, keep it long, use his kicks, use his length. When he does come, I think very important that he doesn't put his own back on the fence. He needs to circle off quick. But he is very quick. He's very like snake-like. He's like hard to get hold of and stuff. But again, we're talking about Islam Makhachev. He's getting a little bit older now.
On the other hand, talking about the preparation ahead of the fight this weekend, Ian Garry shared his motivations and true mindset before stepping in the ring against Islam Makhachev.
Just to kind of realign my thoughts, maybe I see something a bit differently based on the things that I've been training or how I've been feeling. Whatever it is I've been doing, I want to make sure that, is this correct? Am I still on the same trajectory, on the same path? Some fights it changes and goes, oh, well, that's not going to work. I need to do this. Some fights like, God, this is perfect. Take the box, move on.
Ian also emphasized how this type of thinking has allowed him to get fully tuned in to his skills to the point where he is utterly confident about his chances of securing victory.
I have been so focused on me and everything I want to do to be the best in the world, not what Islam can do. I know Islam's route to victory. I know what he has to do to try and get his hand raised in this fight. It's very simple. What I want to do is be the best version of me so I can cause him the most frustration, the most irritation, and I can have fun. So focus on me, so I walk in there as confident as I've ever been.
On the other hand, expressing his views, Islam Makhachev too seems to be brimming with confidence about this bout as he looks forward to revealing the real version of Ian Garry to the world. Issuing a thinly veiled warning, Islam stated, "He acts like the bad guy and tries to do too much interview talk. But I know this, he's a humble guy. If not, we will make him humble." Dismantling the idea that he is bothered by the persona built around him, especially in the last couple of weeks, Ian emphasized that at this stage none of this matters as he is not looking for any encouragement from the fans.
I couldn't care less. Ahead of my fight with Bilal Muhammad in Qatar, I walked out to booze. Go back and listen to the audio 30 seconds into the fight. Let's go, Gary, let's go. Dude, this sport is a pantomime. I couldn't care less what people think of me. What I care about is becoming the champion of the world and proving that I was right. That the dream I had as a 16-year-old kid growing up in Dublin, Ireland, I've fulfilled that dream. What anyone else thinks about me, it's irrelevant.
Still cementing his mindset, Islam pointed out his elite and well-crafted plan, which will once again lead him to victory, especially against a fighter like Ian. Regarding this bout, Makhachev emphasized, "I'm going to try to follow him, catch him, take him down. Everybody knows my game plan. It's going to work again. I think the crowd is going to be on my side because nobody likes my opponent." Just like Islam focusing on Ian's strong points, Ian seems to have the same motives by training to avoid everything from letting the fight go to the ground, no matter how relentless Makhachev's pursuit proves to be.
All I have ever done is focus on people stopping me, stopping people's takedowns, not allowing them to have that success, not allowing them to get their momentum flowing, and irritate and frustrate and punch them in between and find every way possible to prevent them from having success and allow me to shine. Look at the Shavkat fight, right? I stopped, between Shavkat and Bilal, I stopped 15 of 17 takedowns. I've been unbelievably elite at stopping people getting me down. Mm-hmm. I've never been submitted. I've never been knocked out. I know what I'm capable of.
Not being intimidated by all the silent taunts or warnings that have been issued by Islam, Ian appears to be steadfast in his belief that he will finally be labeled as the biggest fighter in the world after beating a legend like Islam.
I've not thought about it like that. I think about going in there and beating him by any means necessary. It doesn't matter how the first second goes. It doesn't matter how the last second goes, or anything in between. As long as I'm doing everything in that moment to make the right decision, to cause the most beautiful violence I possibly can, and do everything correct to get my hand raised. Mm-hmm. By any means necessary to get my hand raised against Islam Makhachev is how I'm going to win this fight. I think that's how every challenger has to go into a fight against the champion. You can't just scrape a win against the champion, because it's hard being the champion of the world. It's hard being the guy that everybody is trying to beat, everybody is preparing for. You can't just walk in there and marginally win. In my mind, you have to go in there and make it absolutely abundantly clear that you won that fight.
Meanwhile, sharing his prediction, Kenny Florian emphasized the benefit that Ian has against Islam, which is being overlooked by a lot of fighters.
Islam Makhachev, who has faced the best of the best, and I think that at 170 pounds, while he's not the biggest welterweight in the world, he's not small either, and I think he has his full gas tank when he fights at 170. Facing a guy like Jack Della Maddalena, who can be a problem on the feet, and handling like he did, I think gave me that much more confidence in picking someone like Islam Makhachev. And Makhachev's game is so layered. He's so technical. He just doesn't make mistakes. And I think Ian Garry needs a big mistake to be exposed for him to capitalize and get the win here.
However, regardless of this acknowledgement, Kenny still favored the Dagestani fighter due to his overall skill and experience as compared to Garry.
I think Makhachev gets it done most likely within 3 rounds.
I hadn't really thought about the gas tank, and now thinking back to Islam Makhachev's words after that Jack Della Maddalena fight, something to the effect of, man, if I had known that my lungs would feel this way, I would have never competed at 155 pounds. And Ian Machado Garry has long said that cardio is his main weapon, his best weapon. So we'll see how that holds up. Yanni the Greek, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I absolutely love this fight. The betting market has blessed us once again with a ton of value.
Agreeing with Florian, Demetrius Johnson analyzed the major aspects that will lead Islam to victory, which mostly include the Dagestani fighter's ability to manipulate his adversary's weight and size to his own benefit.
Beautiful work from Islam Makhachev. All his weight is trying to be forced on his hands, right? So right now, This is really good from Islam Makhachev. Another person who does this very well is Hamzat Chimaev. He does this a lot. It's a very basic wrestling where you're trying to get all your opponent's weight on his hands. This is mixed martial arts. The way this gentleman tried to stand up, he threw perfect technique. He threw all his weight, forced JDM to put all his weight in his hands. Then he couldn't do it. So then he restructured his weight and then started to go towards the cage. When he did that, Islam Makhachev took his back.
Sharing his own experience, Demetrius further analyzed this particular technique.
But now when I think about fighting is that when somebody's trying to get up or even on their 2 feet, you take them off their post. If you take them off their post, they can't fight, right? All that weight's on his post, it collapses, he gives up.
Johnson then shifted to Islam's overall fight IQ and how he always tends to understand the situation and molds himself according to that.
Like, Islam's doing a good job of recognizing when he's going southpaw and orthodox and using the weapons against him. But somebody who spent his whole life fighting and understanding how to shift somebody's weight, how to get them heavy on their hands, how to go this way, how to go this way, this is what you're watching right now. Right? I can see everything. I can feel everything. I know what it feels like when somebody's trying to, get at you. This is craftsmanship, ladies and gentlemen.
Shifting to Ian and his relentless efforts to come on top, renowned analyst Teddy Atlas pointed to the Irish fighter's attributes and spirit, especially against world-class grapplers, which became evident to everyone after his last couple of fights.
And in other fights too. But he showed me with a good grappler, which, of course, Makhachev is. Makhachev is beyond a good, he's an exceptional grappler. But so is Bilal. And he showed me a good prevent defense from takedowns. He showed me a good ability to keep from being taken down to the floor. Now, I think that Makhachev is even better, a little bit, but still, to show me that ability with Bilal, that he has that defense for the takedowns, that's what I had to see. I said, okay, wait a minute. Then maybe he's got a chance to stay on his feet. And with his physical attributes that he already has, advantages.
Furthermore, Teddy also highlighted Ian's striking abilities, which completely contrast to anything that Islam might bring on fight night, despite being one of the best fighters in the entire UFC roster.
Striker, And like I said, Makhachev is a pretty solid striker. He is, especially when he uses his jab. And he keeps his feet under him. He doesn't get out of position. He's always set. He doesn't really reach in too much, but he will a little bit. And if you have a guy like Garry, who's that tall, and he's explosive, he's very athletic. My God, with his kicks, he really is. He's like acrobatic sometimes for that kind of height, that kind of physical, those, as I said, those physical gifts that he has of being tall and long. He's rangy, but he's athletic with it. And when I watch him,
laying out the most crucial factor that will lead to Ian's victory, Atlas stated that despite his abilities to be athletic and have better footwork, his tendency not to be vulnerable to takedowns is something that will come into play on fight night against Islam.
For everything I just laid out, in the physical world, in the mental world, in the technical world, in the confidence world, in all of that I think that he has, if he could have that special night. And the last thing that I said, and I started this with, is the factor that he knows how to avoid takedowns. That gives him a chance to use them. Yeah, he has to have them, but he's got to be able to use them. I'm saying that he's worth a wild shot. A little bit at those odds.
Just like Teddy, Craig Jones also talked about Ian's elite footwork and defense, which allow him to have the upper hand even against dominant wrestlers, like in his fight with none other than Bilal Muhammad.
So we can throw it outside. And something, again, Ian Garry has already done this. And we've seen Islam hit it on Jack Della. The second he hikes it up for a club, we can use that leg to frame and make space here. So now I'm out of range. If Freddie were to try and use his foot to club me at the same time, much better for us than here. He can reach the foot, club me real easy. So the whole game is playing here. And then if he does get greedy, try to go for the club, you can snake that past and get a claw.
Adding on, Jones appeared excited to see how the fight will turn out, especially considering that Islam has never faced a fighter of this caliber before, who not only has all the skills to be an elite fighter, but also has the ability to exhaust his opponents mentally.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Islam does against a real tall, rangy welterweight. I'm fucking struggling to even teach his moves. So who the fuck am I to say what's gonna happen? But Ian Garry's gonna piss him off. Doesn't submit him in first 2 rounds. Then we might be stuck with Ian Garry.
Expressing his views on what will allow Ian to have the upper hand against a dominant fighter like Islam, Chael Sonnen emphasized that it is crucial for the fighter to work on getting to his feet rather than trying to avoid getting taken down, as in that aspect he will never win.
Can he get up off the bottom? If Ian in camp right now is spending in the bottom position, the day the coach comes in and says, we're going to focus and work on the problems from this position, if he is spending more time finding a submission than he is escaping, I already have my answer. No, he cannot beat him. If he's conceding that he's going to be down, he can't beat him. And if he gets taken down, he's trying to concede and find different ways he can win from his back, he's not going to beat him. But if he's spending all his time down, getting back up, there is nothing that will break a wrestler more than if you get up from his takedown. Now you got to do 3. But if you do 3, he won't try to take you down again.
Agreeing with Chael, Luke Thomas stated that the best way for Ian to dominate would be to keep the fight away from the ground, make sure to utilize every possible weapon in your arsenal, and make sure to be vigilant.
That's not how he wins. It can be done. So to me, it's long-range weapons. It is takedown defense. It is managing of not just the distance between himself and Islam, but the distance between his back and the cage, space in the octagon. And I think you're going to have to lead Islam into traps through your movement, right? If you can touch him and then go, and now you're off at an angle and he has to follow in that space to follow, bop, bop, you got to be opening up on him. And again, dude, you might be saying, oh, okay, but can you really do this to Islam Makhachev? I have the exact same questions. It's just hard to see. But I think if there's any winnable path, it's managing real estate, managing distance, being first and third when you need to be, footwork and range. That's going to be everything, because if Islam can get his hands on you and can consistently make grips, that seems like it could be a problem.
Moving on, Sonnen addressed the stark realization that many MMA fans are having about the mounting threat that Ian will pose in this fight, regardless of the chaos Islam brings, because just like his opponent, the Irish fighter also has his own perks.
I think your way to beat Ian Garry is to get all 25 minutes. I think that there's a way Ian Garry wins, and it does not involve the judges. That Ian can take him apart, get him some position, ultimately on the feet, get him down. I'll tell you another thing about Ian Garry when he's on top. His base is what we call stable. The likelihood of Ian Garry being reversed is probably the smallest likelihood of anything that might happen in this fight. And whether Ian can beat him or not, are you guys starting to see where the idea that he might and the possibility that he can?
Sharing his views on Islam's status after this fight, Chuck Mindenhall pointed out how, after years of speculation and looking over, if Islam manages to secure a historic win against Ian, then he deserves the spot among the greats of this sport.
I think that for the longest time, Islam lived so deeply in the shadows of Khabib that we were like, can he be Khabib? And then you're only measuring him against Khabib, which was one of those things that, for the longest time, people were like, no, man, he's not that good. But now he's at this point. It happens when you go and dominate the way he did against Della Maddalena, and you win the title, and let's say that he goes in there and beats Ian Garry. I think that you have to, man. There's, like you mentioned, there's only 4 champions who've defended a title in 2 different weight classes. You mentioned John Jones. There's DC, there's Cejudo, and there's Amanda Nunes, right? And I think all of those would have, pretty good credentials in this conversation. But I think if you look at Anderson Silva to me is because this is the big circle of he's at 16. If he beats Ian Garry, Makhachev will then be at 17.
Though Chuck hailed Islam as a fighter and his domination in his previous weight class, he still talked about the significance of having resounding victories in the UFC, and despite everything, that is what Islam still seems to fall short of.
But if he's able to get by Ian, I feel like he puts it behind him if he beats a guy like Ian Garry, and especially with that murderer's row behind it. If he's going to stick around, some of these young dudes who are coming up in that division, man, and beat some of them, like, because so many of them right now are they're on their whole heads, like Michael Morales, like, or that type of guy, right? Like they if you're able to beat some of these guys, or they're at their height, or they're supposedly just coming into their own, that's going to speak volumes, especially in another weight class, So maybe he's missing, like, I get what Long Island's saying there. There's a little bit of something like the wow moments, or like the deep connection of rivalry. Like he hasn't had some of those things. Guys who test him and he has to like dig in some level that we haven't seen or whatever. But in a way, like even that last point kind of just points out his dominance.
Talking about the overall threat and intimidation that Islam poses, Gianni the Greek pointed out the irrefutable fact about Islam's power and how it manages to take over any significant ability his opponent might possess, including Ian's world-class striking.
Of him getting a hold of you or taking you down wipes out any advantage that strikers have had against him to date. And then I see what grapplers have done against him, guys with great BJJ, guys like Moicano, guys like Charles Oliveira, and he gets them out of there within a round of getting
even quicker. Yeah.
So for me, it's easy. You're giving me a gift, and I get it. It's like, where's the value at minus 350, 360, 400? Well, when he should win the fight 9 out of 10 times, and I only have to lay a price that reflects 7.5, 8 out of 10 times, that's a bigger edge than I'll find on pretty much any other matchup that day. That much I can promise you.
Yeah.
I love Makhachev.
Yeah.
Bad luck will cost me this bet, not the lack of placing a good bet.
Yeah.
I love Islam Makhachev in this spot, John. I do.
So, what are your thoughts on the shifting narrative surrounding Ian Garry and his chances to secure a win in this fight? Do you believe that the fighter has what it takes to go against an elite grappler like Islam, or do you believe that he will end up falling short? Make sure to tell us your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to our channel for more exciting MMA updates.